From the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, this is the Entree Leadership Podcast, where I take calls from leaders like you about what it takes to win at any stage of business and leadership. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host, with over 30 years of experience leading alongside people just like you in the trenches. If you want to submit a question for the show and be on the show, go to EntreLeadership.com/ask. and type in what you're thinking about. Our team will get with you, put you on the air, or you could call us at 844-944-1070, 844-944-1070. Bob is with us. Bob is in Minnesota. Hi, Bob. Welcome to the Entree Podcast.
Hi, Dave. Yeah, I own a paint contracting company, and we have 28 people, and we're in that $3 million a year annual revenue category. And
good for you. Well done.
Thanks. My question would be is getting some ideas on how to finance large projects. Where we run into cash flow issues when we work for a month, we get our contract, we work for a month, and then all of a sudden we start, incurring the costs up front, buying the materials, getting things going, and then, submit the pay request 30 days later. Everybody gets approved from the engineer, the architect, and the owner. And then the next thing, you end up usually waiting another 30 days for a check. So my question would be is that something that you would, while we're saving up our money with our retained earnings to be able to cash flow ourselves, would we be better off to try to give a 2% 10 net 30 discount, or would we try to just put some finance charge in there and just have maybe project financing?
What I would do is, and you're right. The answer ultimately is to build the retained earnings to handle the cash flow fluctuation. That's a pretty standard thing in your world. The other thing I would do is I would manage the relationship tighter. I'm gonna set the terms on the front end. Okay, guys, you guys are huge commercial contractors, engineers, architects. Y'all are all fancy people. I'm a painter. I need my money.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm not your bank. Do I look like a banker? I'm not a banker. So I'm not your bank. And so you guys dragging crap out 60, 90 days and playing around cash flowing off of me isn't going to work. I can't do work for y'all if you don't pay very, very, very promptly. Now, I understand that you have to get sign off on the quality of the work before you can release the check, but then you need to release the check. I don't need to be drug out after that. And you could tighten this up by 2 months if you with some conversations on the front end at the point you take the job. And the more you've done work with a contractor, the more they're going to accept that conversation because they like you, they want you to have the job, they like your quality of work, you're delivering, you're not causing them any issues, and so they want to be a blessing to you to keep you around. But if it's a brand new contractor, it's harder, but I'm still going to have this conversation at the beginning of every one of these jobs. And if then they don't pay me, I'm going to have the conversation again and say, guys, remember when we talked about this? I'm not your bank. I don't look like a banker. I look like a painter. And there's a reason. It's because I'm a painter. I'm not a banker. And I'm not carrying your butt. You guys got to get these checks released. So, and you can reset the relationship. And what you're asking for there is not a thing. All they're doing is either trying to ride the float on you intentionally, or they're just sloppy. And they're just, they're pushing paper around on the desk and it's not getting paid on time. That's all it is. And in either one of those two cases, when you go, hey, I'm a painter, I'm not a banker. And I have used this myself. I'm a small business guy. I am not your banker. You're not cash flowing off my butt. That's not that, you're going to do that. There's going to be additional charges here. And, we're going to build some more profit into this if I'm your banker. Because I didn't realize I was a banker, or I would have been charging you Visa rates, So we can figure this out. I can add 18% on top of this if you want me to, or y'all can just decide to pay on time, whichever. I've had this conversation before. And I'll give you an example. In the radio world, when we were making a ton of money on talk radio back in the day, because we're a huge talk radio show on the Ramsey side. And, we would sell an ad to a company through an ad agency. And so here's how this works. It's kind of like his situation. All right. We would bill at the end of the month the ad agency for that month's ads. They would sit on it for at least 30 days. Then they would bill the customer that we were running the ads for, who would sit on it another 30 days. We were getting our money like 4 months later by the time all these people did a dance. And so we finally just said, guys, we bill you, and I don't really care where the money comes from, but it lands on our desk in 15 days. Otherwise, we're not going to run your ads. That's the terms. Well, that's not how it's done in the industry. I don't give a crap. I'm not your bank. You're buying ads from me. If you need a bank, go see a banker. If you need a loan to float something for 120 days, you're going to have to do that on your own. I don't look like a banker. I don't even like bankers. We're not doing this. And so, we got to where some of the agencies, the big agencies, wouldn't do business with us because they live off of the dadgum float. And we don't let you live off the float on us because we're a cash business. It's cash on the barrelhead. I'm going to bill you at the end of the month, and it's 15 days. You screw around with that, I'm going to start billing you in advance. I won't run your ads until you pay me in advance. If you want to really screw around with this. And here's the good news. There's only one place to buy ads on the Ramsey Show, from me. It's the only way you can get on. So I get to set the terms. Hello. And you can't buy these anywhere else. They're not available anywhere else except through me. And so, we reset this and pissed off some agencies, but then once they kind of got used to it, they were okay with it. They just figured out a way to get paid. They paid up front or whatever, and then I got my money 15 days later. But I'm not your dadgum bank. And that's sometimes, and I just go, guys, I'm a little small business. Y'all are a big fancy agency in New York. Y'all are so smart. You're just brilliant, but I need a dadgum money. That's how it works. Dave's a hillbilly. Just count on that. That's what we're going with right here. That's the overall plan. This is the Entree Leadership Podcast. What does the future hold for business? Ask 9 experts, you'll get 10 different answers. Economic growth or a recession. Business taxes will go up or down. AI will help us work or replace us all. But there's no such thing as a crystal ball. That's why more than 40,000 businesses have future-proofed themselves with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud enterprise resource planning system. Ramsey Solutions uses NetSuite, and you should too. Whether your company's earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you respond to immediate challenges and seize your biggest opportunities. With one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth for the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. NetSuite's real-time insights and forecasting help you see into the future with actionable data. And when you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you spend less time looking backward and more time focusing on what's next. And speaking of what's next, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ramsey. It's free at netsuite.com/Ramsey. In a typical small business, you spend more money on payroll than any other expense. Your team is your largest investment, which means you got to get a great ROI on it or you don't stay open. That's where Entree Leadership Elite can help. Elite is the online platform that aligns your team so you can scale your business. You're going to use integrated tools to get the whole team on the same page, singing the same song off the same sheet of music. Our proven trainings will help you become the kind of leader people want to follow. Plus, Elite's community of business owners will have your back even when things get tough. My leaders use Elite every week to unify over 1,000 team members here at Ramsey Solutions. And now you can use Elite to align your team too. To grow your business with Elite, go to EntreLeadership.com/elite or click the link in the description if you're on YouTube or a podcast. Kevin is with us in Kansas City. Hi, Kevin. Welcome to the Entree Podcast.
Hey, Dave. Thank you for having me. I am general manager of a metal roofing company. We manufacture and install metal roofing, mostly residential, some in commercial, and over the years we've gotten into the exterior of homes, doing siding and gutters. And our gross revenue last year was right at $5 million.
Good for you.
And roughly the profits on that was about $800,000 so everything was paid.
Very cool. Good. How can I help today?
So my question is, my father-in-law is actually the owner. He started the business, and he's getting older and wanting to slow down, of course, and he has over the years. As I stepped in a little bit more, and I really enjoy doing that. And just lately, we had some small talk on about, him stepping on out eventually and how that would all look, and me taking on that responsibility. And one thing that I was wanting your advice on, and I assume you could help, is what could I do at the moment with the position I have that would help me once that time comes and we make that change. Just something I could maybe start doing now and with the guys we have working for us.
How much longer do you think he's going to be in the saddle?
Well, like I said, we just had that conversation. I don't think he's sure yet, but if I'd have to guess, I'd say, another, maybe 10 years, if that.
Oh, wow. Okay,
roughly.
Good. Okay. The more gradual the transition, the easier it is on the team, the customers,
right,
the suppliers, the vendors, everyone, the more gradual it is, because you can talk about it and go, okay, we're aiming it down the road here. This is not today. It's not this year. It's not even next year. But we're beginning, and the both of you, you and him, once you have your plan laid out, then you just start talking about it. And and then your job is to be so dadgum good at your job that the people that work with you are looking forward to you being the owner.
Okay.
That you're easy to work with, you're leading them well, you're kind, you're taking care of the team, you're making the tough decisions when tough decisions need to be made. And one of my buddies that did a great transition, he said the best transitions are when your father-in-law announces formally, okay, next month, Kevin is going to be the owner and I'm stepping aside and he'll be the president. The team looks around and goes, oh, I thought he already was.
Yeah.
Because you were already doing everything mechanically, tactically. You were already sitting spiritually in the seat. The only thing that left was the ownership transfer. And you guys had done it so gradually. There's like an interstate on-ramp. You got a long runway there, right? And you got 10 years. And so this could be very gradual and very gentle. The team, they'll be going, oh, yeah, well, I kind of already thought it had happened. I mean, Kevin's already running everything. My gosh, and he takes care of us. And so, so now he got the title and he got the keys to the building. Oh, well, okay, good. And, they just move right along, and they don't think anything about it. Another friend of mine, when my son moved into the president role here at Ramsey, and we're co-running the business now as part of our gradual transition. I'm the CEO, he's the president, but one of my other buddies, I was telling him about this, has a big organization whose son had stepped in. He said, was your son Daniel, was he elected into the position in the boardroom or the elevator? And I said, well, he was confirmed in the elevator. The boardroom just went along with it. So in other words, it wasn't a decision that came down from on high. All the people Daniel worked with every day would have been surprised had he not gone into the role. because he was walking that direction and everybody knew it, right? And so that's kind of what you're doing with your gradual handoff. You put yourself in that. And then what that does is there's no whiplash because you're not driving along and just whip the wheel to the left and everybody gets thrown out of the car, right? And so instead we're just driving up onto the oh, we're on the interstate. Who knew? And you got up to speed and nobody thought anything about it. So it's one of the tenets. One of the principles of a good succession plan is the more gradual, the better. The more gradual, the less problem the team has. The more gradual, the more you can iron out any bumps or bugs in the process. The more gradual, the higher the probability that the succession plan will be a success. That you'll be holding the keys and can take this company on to the next level because you're not having to fight through a bunch of problems by a herky-jerky, sudden succession plan that wasn't well thought out or thought through. And that's what you're looking at there. That's the process. So that's what I'd tell you to do is go that direction. Good stuff, man. It's a good question, Kevin. And the fact that y'all are talking about it 10 years out, that's the way to do it, man. And you guys go ahead and get started. Start as soon as you get it nailed down kind of what the plan is, start communicating and say, this is kind of the plan. We're not sure exactly, but it's going to look something like this. That'll relieve the team today because they're already wondering. This is the Entree Podcast. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. This is the Entree Leadership Podcast. I would appreciate your help. If you're enjoying this information in this show, and with the price you paid for it, how could you not? We would appreciate the help. You are our only marketing plan. You're our only chance of getting the word out. So if you'll click on the subscribe button or the follow button, it helps the algorithms on these podcast platforms, YouTube platforms, to push this show forward in these different spaces where more people find out about us. Same thing with a 5-star review. Same thing happens when you share the show and send people directly to us. So tell people about the show, leave us a nice review, and click follow or subscribe or whatever it is that you do out there in the world, that internet thingy that you do. All right, Chris is with us. He's in Lynchburg, Virginia. Hey, Chris, welcome to the Entree Podcast.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Better than I deserve, man. What's up?
Good. Glad to hear that. I'm doing great. Yeah, in Entree Elite, and this is my second year at the Master Series, and it's been an incredible deal for us as a company and an individual. We've doubled our revenue.
You doubled your revenue? I hate it when that happens.
I know.
What was your revenue before? What is it now?
It was $3.5 million at the end of last year.
And you went to 7, or you went from there from 1.7?
No, we're going to go to 7 by the end of this year.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Oh man!
Yeah,
wow,
so
that's so much profit I can't breathe. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
What kind of business is this?
We're a contractor, general contractor.
Okay.
We do mostly commercial construction and in the Central Virginia area, Lynchburg area, Charlottesville area.
Cool. How long y'all been open?
We've been in business since 2010.
Well, one of the things, those of you that might be a new listener, one of the things we invite our listeners to do is to call in with what we call a brag call, because there's not many places a small business guy can brag. And this is a place where we're your biggest cheerleader. We love you. We want you to win. And we're cheering for Chris right now. He just scored a freaking touchdown in the Super Bowl, baby. Yeah, I like this. Very cool. All right, so what do you attribute your growth to? What is it you're doing that's causing this to blow up?
Well, the biggest thing we're doing as a group, as a team, is from what we've learned in the first Master Series is we came away from that event with an idea of developing a core team, putting people on the right seat, going to this off-site strategic planning meeting, and developing our mission, vision, core values. All of this stuff fell into place within 2 months after my last Master Series in 2023, which was incredible. And so after that, it just we just went to work, and we were blessed to get the work that we got and did well doing it. And so it's just the rest is history.
But everybody being aligned and flying in a straight line causes the speed to kick up, right?
Right. Yeah. I think your biggest comment over the last series was, as leaders, we lead, we don't push. And I've been in the farming business as well. I know what it's like to try to, whip the cattle into place, and we're not doing that. If you're not on the bus, we're just going to get left behind. And so we took a real strong approach at that, and that's kind of how we've proceeded with things.
Did anybody get left at the bus station? Didn't get on?
We did. We had a key employee that I thought was going to be a key employee, and after about 6 months, we had to make a pretty tough decision, and that was difficult. But we had some good training in our back pocket with having these uncomfortable conversations. This gentleman, good friend of mine, left with dignity, and I felt good about it at the end. If that's possible, I hated to do it, but it needed to happen. So.
He just would not get on the bus. The bus is leaving. We said what we're doing, and he didn't want to be a we.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, wow. And you're a strong leader, man. You made the call. Proud of you. That's backbone stuff right there, man.
I got a lot more to learn, but it's going in the right direction. Being a year in elite has really helped keep me accountable. And
I appreciate you bragging on us, but right now we're bragging on you. You're the man.
Yeah.
I mean, you took it from 3.5 to 7. You took what we taught you and you went and used the tools. You took the tools out of your tool belt and you swung the hammer. You made it happen. So proud of you, man. Very, very well done. Man, I love it. How would you like to take your business from 3.5 to 7 million? You understand that a whole bunch of that next jump is profit because a lot of he's got some of the nut covered already, right? So that's like cha-ching right there, baby. Woo-wee! I do like it when you get to win. Winning is a good thing, man. Hey, we don't do anything. Hey, we're capitalist pigs around here, man. We believe in the capitalist system. We believe you leave the cave, kill it, drag it home. It's yours. Shut up. This is how it works around here, baby. This is the Entree Podcast. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. This is the Entree Leadership Podcast. We're so glad you are with us. Open phones here. If you want to be a caller on the show, call us at 844-944-1070. That's 844-944-1070. We'd love to have you. Chad is with us, and he's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Chad. How are you?
Hey, Dave. I'm doing great. Thanks for the call. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
You too, sir. What's up?
So I'm a owner. My wife and I are owner of a veterinary practice in North Carolina. We have 11 employees. Our top line from last year was 2.7. We should do 3 this year. And my question was about passing along credit card fees to the clients. I wanted your opinion on what you thought about it just in general and then how to implement it. We are currently paying about $40,000 a year in credit card fees right now. So my plan was to start surcharging, which is where we charge 3% for credit card use. That fee would be passed along to the clients, and then the clients would have debit cards, cash or check as an option to pay with no fees to them.
If you run a debit card like a credit card, it still gets you with a merchant fee. The only way a debit card works is if they run the PIN number and treat it like an ATM.
Okay. Yeah, so I think our percent would drop to 1 to 1.5% if we covered the debit fees ourselves.
Okay. All right. So 40,000. So out of your $3 million, are you only running $1 million worth of credit card fees?
I'm not sure the exact.
That sounds slow.
Yeah,
I would have guessed most people walk in and pay for their vet bill with their card.
They do. We're a little bit more out of the city a little bit, so the country folks tend to carry a little bit more cash, and we do a lot more debit. We still take checks. It's not a lot, but it's definitely lower than you would expect for our gross revenue.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So you got a large animal practice too, then?
No, we're strictly small. We're just outside of the city.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Well, I mean, there's 2 approaches you can use. I'm thinking about like our website. We don't take credit cards, but we do take debit cards, and we get charged a merchant fee just like you do for running a credit card. When you use a credit card or a debit card on a website, it's processed through the Visa system, and we still get hit with the 2.5, whatever it is, the merchant fees. Okay? So in a situation like that, a vendor or a retailer like me in that situation, we just build, that's just one of our cost of operation. There's virtually no way to buy on the website except that, right? So I'm almost 100% of my transactions are that. If you're buying a book on the Ramsey Solutions site, right? And that kind of thing, okay? So I'm going to get hit with that. So I just have to build that into my pricing. And so you could just say, all right, 50% of our, we have a $40,000 cost associated with these stupid cards. And so we're going to raise our prices by the equivalent of $40,000 out of $3 million, which is not much. I mean, it's, 1% or something, right?
Yeah, I haven't done the math, but that was the two schools of thought.
You can go that way, or you can do a surcharge. If you're trying to dissuade them from using them, the surcharge will do that. And in your case, in your space, it wouldn't be as unusual, but if you went to a restaurant and they did that, it would piss you off.
Yeah, so that's my hesitation in doing it is that we don't sell widgets. We're very much, there's emotions involved and the human-animal bond, and we're dealing with clients who are trying to make decisions for their pets. So I don't want them to feel nickel and dimed, but also raising the prices kind of hurts everybody as opposed to the people that are paying with credit cards versus that are paying with cash.
And you would prefer them not to run it on a card, and you're saying that. So a place where I see that often is like buying on an online auction site, like a classic car site or a gun broker site type thing. You'll often see price plus a credit card fee if you're going to run it on a credit card. Okay, that's not that unusual on those sites, so it's not offensive then, because that's a small broker of some kind, or it's an individual, and if you're going to run a card on something like that, it's going to cost them a chunk, and they're saying if you want to run it on a card, that's fine. And so I bought some ATVs for the farm the other day for the grandbabies to ride on, and those guys are friends of mine. They're great customers of us, and I bought stuff from them, and I called them up, and I'm like, hey, you don't want me to run this on a card. In my case, it's a debit card, but they're still going to get hit with that exact same fee. And they're like, oh, no, we'll send you the wire information. Just wire it. But now that's a little larger transaction. It's not a $200 transaction, right? So, on a $200 transaction, you do feel kind of nickel and dimed. I don't know. I think you got to gauge how your customers are going to react to a surcharge. And just go, as of June 1, when you use a card, we're going to tack on 3% or 5% or whatever it is. And you could just try it and see what kind of pushback you get.
Yeah, I'll have to figure out if it's worth some of the pushback, which we may not know until after the fact.
If it's two people and they're loud, well, so what? Maybe you didn't want them anyway.
Yeah, right.
And if they're running $1,000 surgery on their cat, and it costs them $50, or they could just pay for it, right?
Yeah.
That's not punitive.
Yeah, I thought if we explained it to the fact that we didn't want to raise prices on everybody, so that we're implementing this ahead of time. They know ahead of time, so they have other options.
This is a cost we're not making money on this transaction.
Right.
This is a cost that when you use your card, it costs us, and so we're going to let you pay for it.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And if you don't want to use the card, it's okay. You don't have to use the card. We're not encouraging one way or the other. But if you run on a card, it costs us, and I'm not going to raise prices on everybody because of that. Yeah, I think you could try that. You just need to message it to the customers to where you feel good about it from I guess a sales standpoint, or from a customer relations standpoint. What's the narrative that feels right, that I feel ethical in how I'm doing it? And the way you've talked it through with me, Chad, makes a lot of sense. I'm trying to think, if I walk in there with my dog, what am I going to think? And I'm not going to think boo about it. I'm going to, I'll just pull some Uncle Benjamin's out of the dadgum wallet and pay you. But I'm a cash dude. I'm more like one of your country customers. I'm more that guy. I'm that redneck, right? So, I've always got money in my pocket, so real money. So, and so that's, it wouldn't bother me a bit. If I look up and go, it's $1,000, I can save $50 by not. I'll reach in there and pay you.
Yeah. And like you said, the ones that will make a fuss are probably our C and D clients anyway.
Yeah, and they may be clients that it's okay if they didn't come back.
Right.
They may take up a lot of your calories anyway.
Yeah.
And, sometimes that's okay. But, again, you don't want to lose them because you hadn't thought through it, which is smart to make this call and kind of talk it through together here. So I would make sure you think through it. You have like one person more than anybody else that's going to be having this conversation because they work the front desk and do the checkout.
Yeah, that was my other hesitation. Our CSRs up front, it's going to be a lot on them.
No, not if you get their buy-in on it.
Well, they're going to take the brunt of the ones that are complaining. But yeah.
Well, no. I'm going to tell them, listen, if someone is getting hot about it, just call me out of the back. I don't want you to have to handle that.
Yeah.
Come get me. Because that's going to be 1% of your people. You're not going to have much of that, okay? But don't ask them, and go, guys, this is what's going on. It's going to affect it affects our profitability, so it affects my raises with you. And you guys help me run this business well, and this is just a good business move, and I just need you to feel comfortable with it so you can explain it without I don't want them explaining it apologetically. I just want them to be matter of fact.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And to do that, I need their emotional buy-in, and part of that is you got to take the slack on the hot ones. They don't ask them to take the hot ones.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on having some sort of, a bonus or something for the staff to say, hey, I know we got this big transition. Here's a little something extra.
You know what? I think it's a bigger transition to you than it is anybody else.
Okay.
You've already burned more calories thinking about this than everybody else in the whole discussion put together will. They'll look at it and they'll make a nanosecond decision and go, whatever, here's cash. And they're just going to move right on because it's not the only time they've ever seen this in their life.
Right. Yeah, it's becoming more common.
We've just discussed that I've seen it other places. And how would if I am your customer and I'm walking in there, the persona of your customer, how are they going to feel? It's really, let me tell you who's going to gripe. Somebody's broke. They got no money, and the only way to fix their animals is go in debt, and they're putting it on a credit card. And they're already broke, and they're already pissed about money, and now they got to fix an animal, and so now they're super pissed, and that's who's going to gripe. It's broke people.
Yeah.
But people that have money, they're not going to think about it twice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. We certainly have a wide range of clientele.
Yeah. But I mean, that's it's going to be the money stress thing to go with the animal stress thing. I'm already broke. I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. I've already got credit card debt. And then the dadgum cat got out in the road. It's just that's who it is. And then somehow that's going to be your fault, right? So, I mean, if you go to the dentist, the people that gripe at the dentist are the ones that are broke. They don't have the money to get their teeth fixed. And so they're having to figure out a way to finance their teeth, and it's the same thing. And that's another place, by the way, you'll see something like you're doing right here as a professional situation like that. I wouldn't be surprised at all if I walked into a dentist and they said, okay, you can run it on a card. We can bill you and not, or whatever. And if you pay cash right now, here's the price. And that wouldn't be an unusual transaction at all, I think, in today's world. So cool stuff, man. Interesting discussion. Good luck with that. Just make sure you got good communication and you're not doing it apologetically. That'd be my thing. Folks, remember, better a weary warrior than a quivering critic. This world needs more high-quality leaders. So take courage and lead. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thanks for listening to the Entree Leadership Podcast.